First story at the top of antiwar.com today. The U.S. plans a weeks-long bombing campaign on Iranian targets. So U.S. officials told NBC News that the U.S. is planning to launch a weeks-long bombing campaign in the Middle East in retaliation for the drone attack in northeast Jordan that killed 3 American soldiers. So the officials said that the targets are expected to include Iranian targets outside of Iran, and the campaign will involve strikes and cyber operations. Other reports have said the U.S. is considering targeting Iranians in Iraq and Syria or targeting the Iranian Navy. So this is very concerning because we're not going to know what they're going to do until they do it. We're not going to know if they're going to target the Iranian military until they do or don't. But the fact that most of these reports I'm reading about the planning and these U.S. officials telling NBC that this is what they're probably going to do, it's not good. And they're not considering bombing Iran, the country, which I guess that's good, but still direct attacks on the Iranian military could provoke a full-blown war between the U.S. and Iran, and who knows what that could turn into. There's a lot of U.S. bases in the Middle East that Iran can hit with its missiles. And the U.S. is considering taking this course of action, even though it has no evidence that Iran was involved in the drone attack in Jordan, beyond the fact that Iran funds and arms the Shia militias the U.S. thinks was responsible. And by that standard, that means Hamas, Russia, other countries the U.S. has funded and armed, wars against them, especially when it comes to Russia. I mean, that means Russia has the right to hit NATO, hit the U.S. That's the logic. That's the line of thinking here. And the Pentagon has said that the Jordan attack had the footprints of Kateb Hezbollah, which is one of the main Shia militias in Iraq. We'll get more into that in another story. So John Kirby, the White House National Security Council spokesman, he hinted at the possibility of the U.S. responding with a drawn-out bombing campaign. Discussing the potential U.S. response, he said, quote, "The first thing you see won't be the last thing," end quote. And he also said it won't be a one-off. And we've seen Blinken make similar comments, say that it could be a sustained response. So planning a pretty serious bombing campaign, it sounds like here. And the headlines, I mean, CNN had a headline today that Biden is getting another war that he didn't want, but it's very clear that he does. He wants to support Israel and what's happening, the slaughter in Gaza, as much as possible, even if that means war in Yemen, war in Iraq, Syria, and war with Iran. And Iran has vowed to respond to any U.S. attacks on Iranians in the region, any attacks targeting Iranian nationals, targeting Iranian interests that are outside of Iran. They're saying they will respond. So, we'll see what happens. And I've seen people saying that this could start, as this week. Not exactly clear on the timeline yet when this U.S. response might start.